Hey, everybody, it's Missy Wolf, and I am here with David Michael Frank. How are you?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you. Man, I got so many questions for you, but can I just start with how the hell do you hit such high notes when you are singing?
Uh, okay. I sing. This is not a joke, but I actually do a lot of exercises singing through tiny little straws. That actually helps. And years of hard work and exercise.
Okay, because like I was at Dollywood a couple weeks ago and just screaming on a few roller coasters, I lost my voice.
Yep.
And I watched.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to scream on roller coasters anymore. So yeah, I don't do that.
Okay, because I just thought, man, I don't understand what you do to keep your vocal cords in such good shape because that just seems, oh man, watching you is just amazing. But it just seems so like there's no way I don't think I could ever do what you do. And as long as you've done it, and it's just amazing to me. So I want to know when you discovered that you had this ability to sing such high notes and to sing so well on all these covers.
I started YouTube in 2011. I was looking up to a lot of people in the industry that are now my friends and peers, and I was watching them make covers and play all the instruments, and I was like, I can do that. And so I started, sort of back in the golden era of YouTube, and I've been pursuing the dream, ever since then. And haven't given up, not planning on it yet. But as far as singing, in sort of this new level and taking it more seriously, instead of just using it as a form of, communicating the message of the song, which that's what I've always done. I always knew I had like a slightly bigger range, but I didn't know the depth of it until TikTok, when I started posting videos and seeing what would do well or not. And then I realized, like, okay, so I'm already in sort of like a unique percentage of people that have like whatever kind of range. But then because of TikTok, I honestly started pursuing taking it more seriously, like an athlete would train their voice, or would train their body for gymnastics or whatever it might be. So I do probably 3 hours, if not more, of vocal training and exercise a day now. I also play guitar and bass and drums. And I'm spending a lot of time playing drums, actually. So I do a lot of sort of self work on that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
TikTok has been sort of my playground to study other singers and to find my voice and my strength and push my abilities to that next level.
I love that. And you've gotten to work with a lot of great people. And I saw your blooper video with Peyton Parrish, and I didn't know who he was. So I looked him up as well. And I immediately got the feeling like he was a big Thor fan. Um, but your blooper video with him was so hysterical. It was so funny. But you have so many amazing videos, and so many of them have done so well. Do you have a favorite moment that you've had, or a favorite video that you've posted to TikTok?
I don't know if I have like a favorite. With being able to just make short form video content, I don't have to shoot like an entire cover, which, I've been doing that since 2011. Technique has sort of changed as an artist, where before it would be like, because you're using the covers for marketing to drive people to your original music. So I've collaborated with incredible talent on YouTube. Some of the biggest YouTube musicians, from Kurt Hugo Schneider, Tyler Ward, Alex Goot, Against the Current. Just some of the, like, Tiffany Alvord, Megan Nicole, some of the big dogs on YouTube. And the way we would always think about it was, once Justin Bieber or Katy Perry puts out a song, we would cover it instantly. And that would be sort of us trying to be in the related videos on YouTube. But now with short form content, you can sort of play with anything, any great song of all time. It's could be relevant now. So that's been really exciting for me to get to, like, study some of the great singers. So, I've done some Whitney Houston covers that I would never, I mean, maybe in the past would not have even risked challenging myself towards doing, but now I'm feeling a little more confident. Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, Demi Lovato. I enjoy doing sort of the female powerhouse belting covers. So, I mean, I guess right now, maybe I'd say My Heart Will Go On, even though I just did an entire tour and sang it every night. So I'm a little bit like already tired of it. But it's such a fun song to belt. And then the funny thing, or not the funny, but I did multiple singing contests on TikTok, where I if I had a viral video, I would invite people to sing and I would sing harmony. So I did that with Demi Lovato, Heart Attack. There's a high note in the bridge that's very, very complicated, or it's very difficult. So I invited people to sort of try out, and I had like over 4,000 singers submit for that one. And then I did My Heart Will Go On as well, when I did a full cover of it. So I did a contest there. So I'm going to lean with My Heart Will Go On,
Okay.
as far as having fun. Also, when my baby was born, I have a 1-year-old baby.
Yeah,
On the
I
first
know.
day of him being born, I didn't really think much of it. I just like duetted myself and did the you're here, there's nothing I fear, and just like mouthed along to it or like vibe to it with my baby. And I was sitting in the hospital. He was literally born that day, and it was the afternoon. We weren't doing anything, and I sat there and just like played that video back and like cuddled my like 0 days old baby. And
Yeah.
so that little memory of like just jamming out to that with like the day he was born, that's sort of cool. So I'm pretty bonded to that song and that sort of feeling. So yeah.
That's great. I was going to say, you look like such a happy dad too in your first Father's Day. I mean, I just think it's fun, and I would have to agree that one has been my favorite, but for different reasons. I haven't seen anybody cover that song with as good of a rendition as you. Like, honestly, I don't think many people have that ability. And for you, man, you just knocked it out. You made it look so easy. And I'm sitting over here like, there's no way I couldn't sing one part of that song, and you're just over here killing it. And it was just, it was just fun to watch. And everything that you've done has been great. When my husband sent me your link and he was like, hey, do you want to interview this guy? And I was like, oh my God, yes. Yes, I do. My kids all are into TikTok, and I've tried. I don't really know how it all works, and I really haven't had the time to like explore, but hearing you talk about it and seeing how so many people have used this to catapult their career to the next level, it's very interesting. And I feel like I'm missing out on quite a bit if I'm not on there. So I think after seeing you and talking to you today, I really need to do better about researching what's out there, because my gosh, like, you're so phenomenally talented. And I know that I've just got to be missing out on so many other things that are worthy of, interviews and platforms, so thank you so much for being here and for opening my eyes a little bit more.
Yeah, it's actually changing a lot of things. I mean, culture, honestly, short form. I don't just give TikTok credit, but TikTok definitely paved the way. But I sort of refer to it as like short form digital content now. But the charts are all ran by whoever's successful on TikTok. The labels are trying to push all their artists to be on there, and YouTube viewership is down because people are watching the short form content. So all of the the video and photo platforms are all sort of trying to get in on this. So you can see Instagram is no longer promoting their photos as much. And now great photographers are having to convert their photos into vertical digital videos. But in that sort of difficulty with all of it, there's a lot of exploration, and those algorithms are getting incredible at showing you what you would like to see. So they're very addicting apps from like the user perspective, because you can scroll, and as you swipe or don't, or watch it or comment or drop a like, it's learning what you like and what you are interested in. Specifically, TikTok is really, really great at that. But the other apps are following along. So as far as what you do, I think there's incredible talent out there to be interviewed, but then you and your interview capabilities, I think, you can show clips of what you do and what you're interested in, and you'll find a new audience in the same way that I found all these new people that are like, oh my God, where have you been? And I'm like, I've been doing this since 2011. What do you mean, where have I been?
Right.
Like, know?
Now, have you had really great family and friend support from the beginning? Because I feel like without that, it's so much harder to pursue dreams and goals. I feel like support is extremely important for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I've had like pretty solid support. My parents allowed me to have like band practice in like the house that I grew up in, and like a place that even was loud into the kitchen. Just like there wasn't even a door between us, so like I could hear my mom like putting plates away if we were like having band practice. So they were always super supportive. But I think something that I dealt with my whole life, my dad has been an executive for the same company for 30 some years, and they're like a Fortune 15 company. So me, I'm the asshole artist son who won't just get a job, and I have not given up on that. And I've just always sort of stood to my lane. And I take the advice, of course, of the people around me and whatnot, but to do a career that is so vulnerable like this, and it's not easily sustainable. I've been able to sustain myself. I just moved to Nashville and bought a house with my wife, and I'm an independent artist. I'm not signed to anyone and I have no one else on my team, but I would love some help. I think it takes a lot of drive that you need to not ever forget. That feeling, for me, at least with music, as far as like why music connected with me in the first place and what I'm trying to put out into the world and the connections that can make for people, and maybe make people feel a little bit less alone in the world, which is, a dark place sometimes. Music can provide a lot of hope, can provide just a lot of change and support for people. And so I'm doing my best to not forget that. And there's people with my lyrics tattooed on them, and I've just heard so many stories. So I'm fighting for creating art for the rest of my life and to make an impact in people. But that doesn't pay the bills. So at the same time, you have to be smart about the how you monetize your art, how you build a community and inspire the people around you. So I've had to navigate a very tricky industry that has been shifting. iTunes no longer exists. I mean, it does, but it doesn't.
Right.
There's just so many things. It's just changed so much. And so TikTok is definitely being on that cutting edge of where content is consumed and how it's consumed. So I'm doing my best to be there. I wasn't an early adopter to it. I showed up in the middle of the pandemic and probably had similar hesitance as you do. I was like, it's for kids. And then eventually I realized like, oh my God, everyone's my age. Everyone's like consuming music and content.
Yeah. My whole thing, it's not even that. Mine is just, I know myself. I know how I am. And I know that I get so super sidetracked, and I will just get lost for hours watching it. I've seen other people do it, and I'm like, I still have a house to run, a job to do. And I'm so scared of getting caught and not being able to get out of it, and then like letting people down because I'm not making my deadlines. So that's why I have been hesitant, because I know I need to just get in there and just watch, just spend a whole day just watching and discovering and learning. And then maybe I can go from there and figure out how to manage my time with it better. But I know how I am, and that's why I've been hesitant.
It makes sense to be like a little like respectfully scared of it, because it can be addicting as like a user. But I also think the apps are addicting for somebody who's posting. I think that they're like gamifying and sort of like almost using some of the lottery style dopamine tricks. So like if you were to start posting, I think they'll make something of yours go viral, and you go, oh, this is awesome. And when something goes viral, you start to get emails. For me, I get managers and record labels, and I get other artists, and I get all kinds of people in my email. And you can see the income from streams and from plays and from new followers. And then you'll post something and it won't do well. And then your dopamine's like, what's going on? And I honestly think that they're playing with our like lottery brains right now.
Right. That's so crazy. And you said you just moved to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
I am like maybe 45 minutes to an hour from you if you're in that area.
Cool.
So if there's ever a time you want to come do a live stream and you want to throw up your tip jar and, get fans involved with asking questions and everything, just let me know, because I would be more than happy to put you on our show. That would be so much fun. Plus, I mean, I just think that we have an audience as well that, maybe not on TikTok. So maybe this is going to be the first time they're actually hearing you. So, that's the one thing I love about where we are and who we are, is there are so many people that you can reach. And honestly, your talent is just through the roof, and you need to be reaching every household, because I think you're that good. And
I appreciate that.
My husband thinks you're that good too. Otherwise we wouldn't be talking today,
It means a lot. Yes, I'd love to collaborate. It's nice to be in the this part of the US. And yeah, if
Mhm.
we're nearby, I mean, yeah. And then if you're in the Nashville area,
Yep.
hit me up. We're just a little bit east.
Yeah.
But yeah, would love to collaborate with you guys more, and I appreciate the kind words.
Absolutely. Now, as far as social media, are you as active on like Instagram as you are on TikTok, or is it just mostly TikTok that you're
No, TikTok's new, as far as how it's sort of changed my life and other people's lives. But my schedule is a little bit more of like creating short form content often. However, yeah, I mean, I've been on Instagram and Facebook, I mean, for all of the years. And so when you create a piece of content, you see the same piece of content across different platforms. So if I'm posting a TikTok, I'm actually going to post it as an Instagram reel, and then I'll go to Facebook and I'll post it as a Facebook reel, and I might go to Twitter and post it as a video, and I might go to YouTube and post it as a short. And each audience is different, and a
yeah.
video that does well on one platform might not do well on other platforms. And so it's really interesting to see, especially the demographic difference between something like Facebook and TikTok, which I'll have a much older demographic on Facebook than I will on TikTok. And I might get more negative comments on Facebook than I do on TikTok. I don't get any negative comments on TikTok, a few. And then YouTube is all the people that are there because they're subscribed to me. So they're already my fans. They're, the algorithm doesn't push as much to new people on YouTube. It's my subscribers.
Right.
Whereas Facebook is showing me to people who have no clue who I am. So yes, I'm on all of the social media.
And I'm so glad you talked about it the way that you did, because you're so right. Like every platform has a completely different audience and demographic. And it's pretty interesting to watch. And you mentioned negative comments. I can't imagine you getting any negative comments because you're that good.
I get some.
But how do you handle those? Because I don't have a thick skin, and I've gotten a few negative comments, and one I have to laugh at now because it was just kind of ridiculous. But I was told I needed an entire case of wrinkle cream, that I was old and whatever. And at first my feelings were really hurt, but then I just kind of had to laugh. But how do you handle, receiving?
Yeah, you have to brush off. And I know it's not as easy as just saying have thick skin, because it's hard, but some people are intentionally trying to be hurtful, and that sucks. I'm pretty good about it. We actually my wife and I opened ourselves up to a whole nother level of, issue with that, because I have my social media and content. I'm a musician and a creator on all of the platforms. My wife is a very successful YouTuber, and she does social commentary, and she'll talk about political stuff, which all of those are very hot topics. And then, so that's going to have its own element of debate and conflict. And then together we have a family channel. So that's another world where we have a baby, and we have opened ourselves up to even more criticism. Now people are telling us how to be parents, and how to run our house on a bigger scale. So there's a lot of it. I've got pretty thick skin about it. If it comes down to like singing, I get a lot of like, oh, this isn't singing, this is shouting. Like, good luck shouting it, because there's a lot of technique involved. You can't just shout like Whitney Houston. It might involve a lot of like pressure. So I can understand why they're saying like shouting, because you're swinging for the fences. I get it, but so I'll get a lot of comments like that. Traditionally you get a lot of people that are like, oh, auto-tune. That's like a typical like comment section on any singer's video ever. But that's like also saying a photographer's using Photoshop. Like every photographer uses Photoshop. You can't just like have a great whatever. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I get a lot of those comments, but I think you have to look at all of them, all of the comments, and not let the like few intentionally hurtful ones affect your psyche. But creating content online is a very vulnerable thing in general. And so you just have to develop that kind of thick skin, or else it'll eat you alive.
Yeah. I can see how that would eat me alive. Like, I honestly, I don't even know if I could be as brave as you and as courageous as you to open yourself and your family up to that. I mean, Yeah, I don't know that I could do that. So I'm going to give you some major props here because yeah, I'm just kind of a wuss. I don't think I could do it at all. But I
It's
love that
okay.
you do. I love that you do. But is there anything you have going on that you want fans to know about? Anything you have coming up, any dates or shows or anything?
Well, I just finished a US tour.
Mhm.
So we are going to reschedule 3 shows. Sadly,
Okay.
uh, we had a COVID well, actually, like
Bummer.
literally, like the first show, it was a nightmare. The
Oh,
first show, one of the singers, Lauren, she tested positive right before the first show. So that meant that first show that me and the other singer, Addie, were going to really have to like sing extra to like cover for Lauren. And then it was the next day after that show that we tested positive. So we had to cancel 3 shows, Houston, Atlanta, and Nashville. Atlanta was sold out. So those will be rescheduled for next year, I'm hearing. And I think we're going to add a Southeast tour. So just stay tuned as far as my social media goes. But I also just released my debut
yeah.
single as myself. I've been in bands for, over 10 years, and I've always released music over like about 200 songs under band names, originals and covers. And now for the very first time, as of last month, I now am releasing music as my name, and I just put out my first song called Only One. So now it's like my career is just starting, which is weird.
But it's got to be just such an exciting weird, right? I mean, what did that moment feel like when you released your debut single, which I've been listening to, by the way? It's such a good song.
Thank you.
Everybody home, if you didn't catch that, it's only one.
Hmm.
And you need to ask your devices to all play it. I'm not going to say her name because she'll start talking to me from the other room. But it is such a good song. Did you write it too?
I did. Yeah. I wrote this with 2 other people, which usually I don't ever write with other people, but we can talk about that in a second. But as far as like the feeling, I remember like hitting upload, and like when you upload it to the platforms, like you have to put all the data and whatever, and like hitting upload and then like seeing like, okay, wow, it's available for pre-save. So that was like the first moment where you're like, okay, wow, it's real. My name is in the iTunes store or the Spotify. And then when it actually like dropped, that's when you like see your name on it and you're like, wow, that's so crazy. Like I've released so much music under different names that I never see my name. So it's cool to see it. And as far as the writing goes, when I moved to Nashville, a bunch of professional songwriters hit me up. Sort of, probably poaching talent kind of a thing of like, hey, let's find the viral people and let's hit them up. And so I got reached out to by some really incredible writers, and I've never written with other people, even though I've been in bands. I usually like will send my bandmates their drum parts and their guitar parts, and I will say, here's the song. What do you think? And they usually probably don't even listen to the words or much else. So that's been my world of being the sole writer. And then when it came down to working with Nashville people, I was really insecure about it because I've written so many songs, and like now I'm going to go write with people who they write at 10 a.m., they write at 1 p.m., and they write at 5 p.m., and they all have different groups that they'll write with, and they'll write for people. They'll write about a idea that didn't exist. Oh, you see that girl from across the bar, and like whatever. They'll write about sort of these story kinds of things that are so different than how I've been writing for the last few years, which is like I'm going through hardship. I'm writing about my life. I'm writing about and I might pace about the second verse around the room for a week. It might even, who knows? It might come to me quickly. It might be all in one flight, but it might also just be something that takes me time. These guys are insane, and girls. Everybody's insane in this writing circle. So I did a bunch of writes, and would show up with ideas or show up like, hey, let's do whatever. And then, you pass the guitar around and you start making a beat, and all of a sudden, and they are so good. They'll be like, what's going on in your life? And I know that their questions are like manipulative into what's going on. So anyways, I went to all these writing sessions. I wrote about 20 songs. And only one was written towards the end of all of the writing sessions that I did. And it was a day where we had one session. It was like 2 or 3 hours, and we actually wrote 3 songs, which we've already had like 17 songs written. And then like we wrote 3 songs in one day, and all 3 of them are really good. And it was just like, I don't know, we were flying through them. So for me, I'm coming from the like really authentic, where I'm coming from what I want to say, which of course those writers can tap into, but they're not me.
Right.
But they bring the skills that like I like sort of learned, like I rhyme schemes and like the exact meter of how many like syllables per, like I was like writing from my heart. So I wasn't really counting exactly all of how many syllables and what AABA, like I was just writing. And so now you get with all the people that know all the tricks and they can pull it out of me while also like having a better vocabulary because they do this 3 times a day. I was able to like work with some very talented people that were able to pull it out of me and get some really great songs. So I feel like I've been writing some of the best songs I've ever written, probably from a, you know, that a professional songwriter would write or would say. Maybe some of my songs when I was younger or whatever might have been more like raw and like shitty like, but now they're like better and they'll have more like internal message and like the rhymes are actually rhyming instead of sort of rhyme, you know, they're making me follow the rules.
I love that though. And I love that you've been willing to do that because there are a lot of people who know this is how I do it. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to continue. And they are not as open to change. They are not as open to suggestion from others. And I mean, I've seen it across the board. I've seen and heard so many stories from so many people, but yours is really quite fun because doing something completely different and you get here to Nashville. And I mean, I know how songwriters can be. I know I've sat and watched. It can be really intense, but you seem to have really clung on to it, and hopefully that'll just make you better and better and better and better. I mean,
there's some really, I'm still insecure, like going into any of those rights because they're all so talented. And now I've had like some like major hitter, like artists that I'm like talking to and like Instagram DMs and they're like, yeah, like let's write. Like, that's cool. Like I recognize they like see that I might have some like followers or whatever now, but like, I'm still scared to go like write a song with somebody who's like written hits and like show up and like, I feel like I'm just a kid. But I mean, I guess I've earned some stripes, but like, I still feel like, you know, I'm trying to like prove myself.
I love that. Well, we know a lot of other songwriters too here, so we may end up with some mutual friends along the way. But man, cool. If you need anything, you just have to just reach out to us and let us know. I mean, we'll do whatever we can to help you or introduce you to people that maybe you know you'd like to talk to. I mean,
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm so always trying to write more songs. Now I feel like I'm addicted to it, where I had all those songs that I've written and now it's like they're good, but now I like keep wanting to find like the better songs. So that's probably not the right mindset. But yeah, I would love to write some more songs.
Just have fun, keep doing what you're doing and keep being open to it. And I think you're going to just amaze yourself and your family and your friends. And you're just on your way to your happiest life, in my opinion, just from what I've seen and heard. And I'm just glad I got to talk to you today. And thank you so much for, you know, spending the time with us. Cause I know you don't know who I am. You don't know who we are. And you took a chance on us too. So
I appreciate that.
That means a lot to us as well. And for fans at home, is there anything you want to tell them before I let you go? Cause I know you got a busy schedule.
Tons of new music on the way. You can search me on everything now as David Michael Frank, which is exciting. Yeah, thank you for the support. Anything that you do to support is like, as an independent artist, it's really on me. I would love a manager, but I don't have one. I would love help, but I don't. There's literally merch in the background on the floor because when I get a merch order, I will package it and I will ship it and I will go to the post office and I will do that myself. So it's an independent operation here. So just thank you so much for the support.
Oh, I love that. And everybody at home, if you haven't downloaded Only One, please download it. Streaming it is great, but download it as well. Until next time, everybody. We'll see you.
Thank you very much.